The year is 1994. Jeff Bezos is a high-ranking vice president on Wall Street. He has stability, a guaranteed seven-figure future, and a life most people only dream of. He is 30 years old, and he is miserable because he knows he's making the wrong choice. He didn't quit because of a great product idea. He quit because of a single devastating question. He asked himself, "When I am 80 years old, what will I regret?" He realized he would not regret failure. He would regret inaction. This is the story of the regret minimization framework, the relentless philosophy that transformed a single fear into the most dominant retail and infrastructure company the world has ever seen. To the public, Jeff Bezos is a caricature, the eccentric billionaire, the maniacal laugh. But beneath the surface is a strategic mind obsessed with two things, day one and the long term. This is how he built an empire that started with a $10,000 investment and a door desk. The origin of this relentless problem-solving mindset is not Silicon Valley, but rural Texas. Jeff Bezos' early life was marked by change and a profound influence from his family. Born in 1964 as Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen, his father was a circus performer and his mother, Jacqueline Guise, was a teenager. When he was 4, his mother married Cuban immigrant Miguel Mike Bezos, who adopted Jeff and whose last name he took. But his most formative years were spent not in the city, but on his maternal grandfather's ranch in Texas, where he spent his childhood summers. His grandfather, Preston Guise, was a regional director for the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission and a natural tinkerer. Jeff didn't play typical games. He helped repair windmills, lay pipe, and even took apart and reassembled a massive broken-down Caterpillar D6 bulldozer. This time was formative. His grandfather taught him the power of radical self-reliance. If something breaks, you don't call an expert. You figure out how to fix it yourself with ingenuity. You see a huge broken machine, you don't say impossible. You build a crane to move the broken gears. This mechanical, hands-on ability to break massive problems down into solvable components became the blueprint for Amazon. Bezos continued to excel academically, graduating summa cum laude from Princeton in computer science and engineering. Post-graduation, he gravitated to Wall Street, working at the groundbreaking hedge fund D.E. Shaw, where he applied complex mathematical models to finance. He was climbing the conventional ladder at an unprecedented pace, becoming the firm's youngest senior vice president. But the lure of the internet growing at 2,300% became too strong. The conflict was agonizing. He was risking his entire future, his marriage, and his reputation. The regret minimization framework didn't make the choice easy. It made it necessary. He knew the pain of temporary failure was preferable to the permanent, hollow regret of a missed opportunity. He quit, drove to Seattle, and in his rented garage, Amazon was born. Amazon launched in July 1995 as an online bookstore. The product was deliberately chosen. Books are standardized, easy to ship, and there are millions of titles, perfect for a store that could offer infinite inventory. Bezos immediately implemented frugality as a core value, famously using salvaged wooden doors as office desks. His other core value was customer obsession. They would sacrifice profit and speed to make the customer experience perfect. This focus was the only way to build trust in the skeptical, nascent world of e-commerce. He wanted customers to feel like Amazon was always on their side. The skepticism reached a fever pitch in 2000. The dot-com bubble burst. Amazon's stock price dropped from over $100 to under $10. Analysts publicly demanded Bezos' resignation, calling the company Amazon.bomb. Bezos was staring bankruptcy in the face. It was the ultimate test of his long-term framework. While competitors collapsed, Bezos enacted his counterintuitive survival strategy. He cut costs aggressively and chased cash flow, the actual money moving through the company. And he doubled down on expansion, expanding into new product categories, determined to be the everything store. His most brilliant strategic move came with the launch of the third-party marketplace in 2000. Instead of fighting to stock every item, he invited other small sellers onto his platform. This instantly multiplied Amazon's inventory without requiring any capital investment from Amazon. This maneuver transformed Amazon from a retailer into a platform, a far more powerful and scalable business model. The pain of the dot-com crash became the crucible that forged Amazon's competitive advantage. As Amazon grew into the 2000s, it created a massive internal problem. Every single business unit, retail, media, fulfillment, was building its own custom, expensive, and incompatible server system. The company was drowning in complexity and redundancy. It was slowing down innovation. Bezos issued a famous radical internal mandate: stop building for us. Build all internal computing infrastructure to be completely standardized and accessible to anyone via a simple network call, like a utility. His engineers were told to package up all their unused capacity and prepare to rent it out to the world. The goal was internal efficiency, but the potential was far larger. In 2006, Amazon Web Services All was born. It offered raw computing power, storage, and databases over the internet. They allowed a company like Netflix to launch without ever buying a single physical server. It democratized the ability to launch a global tech company. AWS became the accidental gold mine. While Amazon's retail side fought bloody, thin-margin wars, AWS provided a staggering, high-margin, reliable revenue stream. It is consistently the engine that generates the vast majority of Amazon's operating profit, funding everything else prime, the drones, the devices. Bezos' strategy was validated. Always invest in infrastructure, and the profits will eventually follow. With AE's funding the ambition, Amazon launched its two other critical strategic products: Prime 2005, a loyalty program that locked in the most valuable customers with free 2-day shipping, and the Kindle 2007, which revolutionized e-reading and gave Amazon control over the digital consumption market. The three pillars, retail, AWS, and devices, created an unassailable flywheel effect. In 2013, Bezos used a fraction of his fortune to acquire a completely different kind of company, the Washington Post. This was not a business move. It was an infrastructure move. Bezos saw a broken, critical piece of civic infrastructure that could be fixed with long-term investment, technology, and his famous obsession with metrics. His involvement helped resurrect a legacy institution, but the relentless pursuit of scale and efficiency came at a cost. Throughout the 2010s, Amazon faced increasing criticism over its intense warehouse working conditions, its treatment of third-party sellers, and its growing monopoly power. For many, the convenience of the everything store was bought at the price of labor rights and market competition. Bezos was forced to confront the harsh reality that day one innovation often created day two ethical dilemmas. Bezos's true passion, the one that drove him from the start, was space. In 2000, he founded Blue Origin, focused on one foundational goal: building the road to space so that future generations could build, colonize, and industrialize the solar system. While Elon Musk is focused on Mars, Bezos is focused on the infrastructure, making reusable rockets and creating orbital habitats. His most famous quote, "We are going to move all heavy industry into space." In 2021, Bezos finally stepped down as CEO, handing the reins to Andy Jassy. It was a signal that Amazon had reached a state of stability that allowed him to focus entirely on his nonprofit and space ambitions. His legacy is the concept of day one, the instruction to remain agile, paranoid, and customer-obsessed, acting like a hungry startup even as a corporate giant. The story of Jeff Bezos is not just one of innovation. It is a lesson in the psychological weight of potential. He built a $1.8 trillion empire, not by being the smartest, but by creating a framework that forced him to overcome the most paralyzing human emotion, fear of regret. He proved that the long-term payoff is only accessible to those who are willing to endure the most savage short-term pain. For Jeff Bezos, the only way to beat time was to never let the sun set on day one. If you want to master the strategies that turn radical ideas into massive empires, make sure you subscribe to From Zero right now. And join us next time as we deconstruct the philosophy of Elon Musk and his obsession with risk.